These are tumultuous times, guys. The second wave of COVID-19 is in full swing. So many families around the world are forced to choose between life and livelihood, the need to protect themselves from COVID, while getting out there to make enough money to pay for their mortgages, their rent, and their daily necessities. But COVID-induced shutdowns have hit economies hard. The global GDP will grow at the slowest pace since the Great Recession. And as if we didn't have our fair share of hard times, the leader of the world's most powerful country has not even conceded the election, much less considered leading his country or the world through this time of crisis. This is what I'm talking about. 13 minutes into the G20 summit's opening ceremony, while King Salman of host Saudi Arabia was speaking, Trump was, as you can see, tweeting and complaining about voter fraud in Michigan. Did you see that? And later on, he skipped the G20 COVID panel and went out to, surprise, surprise, play golf. All this while the United States confirmed more than 170,000 cases that same day. Yet many people were relieved by the increasing leadership they saw from China. These past 2 weeks, President Xi spoke on multiple occasions on China's positions on COVID, geopolitics, and really the future of our world. China's messages were consistent, positive, and reassuring, a stabilizing force, if you will, in these uncertain times. Remember when China said it is actively considering joining the CPTPP? That is remarkable. We all know what TPP was all about. It was an Obama-era US-led trade agreement, which most experts believe was aimed at countering China. That's also the impression that I got, at least during my interview with then U.S. Secretary of State and U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. The U.S. would welcome China's participation.
We have designed TPP as being open to countries that have high standards that want to join. I think the challenge for China would be to meet the high standards, and we think that's a challenge that's worthy of all the countries in the region of seeking.
Beijing is basically saying that it is now water under the bridge. No hard feelings. China still wants to be part of the new TPP and do what's good for global free trade. In fact, for RCEP, another newly signed trade deal of which China is also a member, Beijing said similar things in that it welcomes all parties to join, including India, with whom Beijing had border disputes. Of course, Beijing needs to deliver on its many promises, such as opening up its markets further, treating foreign businesses more fairly, and better protecting intellectual property. But all in all, you do see a consistent Chinese foreign policy doctrine taking shape that prizes multilateralism and creating win-win situations. Listen to the Chinese president.
我们绝不会走历史回头路，不会谋求脱钩，或是搞封闭排他的小圈子。
That's Beijing's own way of saying it does not seek US-style military alliances that pit one country or bloc of countries against another. Critics still don't buy it, I know. They say, what about the Belt and Road Initiative? Isn't that about expanding China's sphere of influence to counter that of the West? Well, last time I checked, there were dozens of Western countries, including 18 EU countries, that had signed up for the deal. And Beijing's invitation for the United States to join has been open since day one. Going forward, Beijing has some specific solutions too. It proposes that G20 public health ministers meet as soon as possible to coordinate COVID prevention and rollout of vaccines. That countries set up a global QR code system to get people on the move again in a safe manner. And economies enhance digital cooperation, leveraging digital technology and green technology to engineer an economic recovery that is sustainable. Guys, we are at a crossroads. Globalization is at a crossroads. We need to ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want us and our children to live in? One with more nationalism, chauvinism, narrow-mindedness, with more man-made borders and barriers? Or one with more diversity, tolerance, understanding, and inclusiveness? The choice is ours to make, and we need to make it fast.